Good morning, everyone. It's Sarah, and welcome to Coffee and Crochet with Sarah. And just in case you don't know, every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, and you'll need to check when that is where you're located around the world because it's at all different times of day, right? Well, every Tuesday we do try at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time to have a live video. And we do the live video over on the Posh Pooch Designs Facebook page. And then once we finish the live video on Facebook page, we shoot it over to YouTube. And of course, I tweak it up just a little bit with some music and some fun. And I see a bunch of you already clinking in. Linda was first. Yay, Linda! Vicky, Dawn, Heather, Karen, Carolina, Joy, Aurora, Cheryl, Ruby, Amanda. I'm so glad you're all clinking in early. Caitlin. Well, I've got my coffee time mug today. I got up this morning and it was a little bit chilly, and they said it was 58 degrees here. And they said the high today was going to be 75. So I'm sticking with the hot coffee today. All right. I see Jane and Tammy and Rita, Melissa, Teresa, Karen, and Jennifer. Let me move this down here. Dawn, Margaret, and Lisa Ann. My precious sister's name was Lisa Ann, spelled just like that. Anyway, I've got a lot to talk with you about today. We're going to discuss some of the velvet yarns and some tricks and tips and how to work with it. I also got some new patterns and videos to show you. And then I'm going to show you something because I get a lot of questions about how do you find my videos on YouTube, and also where are those notes you're always saying is underneath the video on YouTube. And so we're going to just discuss that at the end of the video. Now I have to tell you, I'm just a little bit kind of uptight. A really silly thing happened. Have you ever seen that meme that says that piece of yarn looked like a spider and now it's a dead piece of yarn now? Well, I have a hardwood floor through my family room, dining room, and kitchen. And I looked over and there was a little black fuzzy thing next to where the door for the trash can is. And I thought, well, maybe it's just a piece of yarn. And so I went and got my broom. No, it was not a piece of yarn this time. It was a spider, and it was a hopping spider. But I just shoot him out the back door with my broom and kind of sling him off the deck. He went flying, but he's okay. And as soon as that happened, I thought of that meme. I thought, that's me. So, anywho, as I like to say, if you're here today, let's go ahead and clink in. Coffee time. All right, let me see if there's a few more that I missed just in case, and we'll get started in our conversation. Let's see. Teresa, Crystal, Paula, there's Kimberly, Michelle, Sarah. Let's see. I've already got these names. There's another Linda. Let's see. All right, looks like I got everyone who's clinked in so far. And what we're going to do first, I'm going to click over to this other camera so you can see these yarns up close. Now, one of the new yarns that's out there is the velvet yarns. And remember this cowl that I showed you? I'm going to put it right here. And we'll talk a little more about this a little later in the video as well. But this was my first experience with the new velvet yarns, and I really liked it. It's really pretty, has good stretch once you stitch with it. It drapes beautifully when you put it on, and it really crochets up nicely. And for you knitters, I have not knitted with this yarn, so I don't know how that is. Now, I did make this little bunny. He's going to be right up close in your face with this yarn, and it's really pretty. holds its shape well, and it makes a nice squishy stuffy. All right. So there are lots of wonderful good things about this yarn. Now what I have here, this is the Bernat crushed velvet. Very pretty. It's a variegated. Let's see, this color is called Toasted Plums. And I picked up 2 of these at Michael's. They had a buy one, get one. And so I got 2. And I think I'm going to make something similar to this pillow here with these. And it is a number, I think it's a 5. Yes, it's a bulky 5. All right, so that means you need to use probably a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Yep. All right. So then I picked up this one, and this is the Lion Brand Velux. And if you look at the back, it's a medium number 4. But if you look at the strand, let me pull one out here and compare it to this one, they look the same. And even though this one's at a 4, it's a medium, this one is a bulky 5. And so keep that in mind when you're purchasing your velvet yarns. All right, this one has 10.5 ounces, and this one has 5.3 ounces. And this one is probably, you know, roughly about half what, or even less than that, because it's 5.3, yeah, it's about half. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're purchasing velvet yarns as well. Isn't that a beautiful color? I think it's called Blush. Where did I see? Oh, Lilac. I have, this one here is called Blush. And this is this yarn, okay? And so I'm pretty sure it is. Now I might be mistaken on that now that I think about it. All right, so then I went to Hobby Lobby and I found this Baby Bee. And it's Adorable Bumblebee Wings. It's a 3.5 ounce skein, and it is a, where did it go? It doesn't have it listed here. Oh, there it is. Real tiny. It's a 5. And again, it's about the same. It's a little denser in the fuzziness of it than this. Let me grab that so you can kind of see the difference there. See, this one's more of a velour in my opinion. It's a little softer, more flex in it, I guess you would say, or pieces of the yarn. All right, and then I also picked up this one. And this is Yarn Bee also. It's called Velvety Smooth Country Cloud. It is also a 5. And it is similar to these two as far as the structure of it, the thickness of it. It's not near as velour-y a word. It's not near as velour-y as this one, which is Baby Bee. And that's understandable because this is more for making baby blankets and hats. And these are more for making other things, which of course you could still make baby blankets and hats with those. All right, now I'm going to click back over here. Now, the reason I wanted to show you those up close is because of the weight difference that they're categorized as. But remember, there's wiggle room within those categories, you know, that start from 0 and go all the way up to 8 now because we got some big, thick yarns now. All right, so I love all 4 of these. I've got plans for all 4 of these, and I've got a couple of each. You can see behind me, I've got some more of these Velux ones. Okay. So, let me just give you some tips and hints that I have learned while working with the velvet yarn. Okay, so the first thing is, I'm going to pull this cowl back up real quick. I don't recommend working teeny tiny projects. You're going to want to work something that is going to be where you can see the stitches. Because what happens with a yarn like this, you're going to lose your texture sort of. If you make it into a tiny project, and that's why I kind of chose to do this, you can still see the texture of that loop stitch cable that I did, but not the real intricate stuff. And that's the second thing I wanted to talk to you about, is if you're going to do something really intricate with lots of textures and twists and all that, it kind of gets lost within the texture of the velvet yarn. Okay, so keep that in mind. Another thing I learned is not to crochet too tightly. If your stitches are real tight and you make a mistake, it's really difficult to rip, frog it out, okay? But if you stitch a little bit looser, it seems to drape better. And again, I'm going to use this cowl as an example. It has great drape when you go to put it on, it lays beautifully because the yarn has just a little bit of weight to it. It's a lot heavier, not a lot heavier, but a little bit heavier than even just say a worsted weight number 4 that's maybe acrylic or something. It has just a little bit more weight and of course the luxuriousness of the yarn, and it just really drapes and lays beautifully. Okay. And another thing I wanted to remind you, when you're working with, say, a new yarn of any kind, don't let it frustrate you. I always suggest, and it's just, again, my opinion, anything on this video that I do or my channel or on Facebook is just my opinion. You do what works best for you, okay? But I suggest that when you get a new yarn like this, that you make yourself just a swatch. It doesn't really have to be the stitch you're going to use unless you're using that for measurement. But just get out the hook that's recommended by the yarn or by the pattern that you're working on. Stitch out 10 chains or 11 chains or whatever, and just do some single crochets, practice some half doubles or some double crochets, and get used to how the yarn feels. Because a lot of times what I do, because I get a little bit lazy and I don't make those swatches like I should, I'll go ahead and start a project and I'm like, this isn't working at all. What am I supposed to do? Oh yeah, you didn't test it a little bit first. So when you get that brand new yarn and and you're testing it out and you got a new pattern or something, just play with it just a little bit. People ask me all the time, because I take my yarn with me everywhere, and people ask me all the time, what you making? And I always say, oh, I'm just playing. Because a lot of times I'm just playing with it, seeing how it's going to drape, how it's going to lay, if a certain stitch is going to work, and that will help you keep from being frustrated. Now, if you do get frustrated, it's okay, because I get frustrated with yarn sometimes too. And so then it goes in the naughty corner. I call it the naughty bin, because I have a plastic tub that I have a lot of, I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of half-finished projects. And I'll come back to them later, and I do switch them out and come back to them later. But I got a little bit frustrated because it wouldn't work right the way I wanted it to. And it's usually not a pattern that isn't working. For me, it's just I have a tendency to overthink. And so I'll overthink. I'm like, this really shouldn't be working this way. So it goes over there in the corner in that naughty bin. And then later I'll go back and get it out. And, you just have to give it, you have to put, kind of like putting it in the corner. And then when it's ready to be good, you can bring it back out. And it's always a good idea to do that, because you do not want to get frustrated, because we love what we do. But frustration happens sometime. So that's just a little bit, to let you know. But really, working with the, if you've ever worked with the blanket yarns, like the burnout blanket yarns and some of the other ones, this is actually a little bit easier than those yarns, because they're a little bit easier to manipulate. When I mean that, I mean shape. I love burnout blanket yarn, so don't misunderstand what I'm saying, because I do love working with them. But the velvet yarns have just been so much fun for me, and I find them very luxurious and gorgeous, and they make beautiful things. And again, I'm going to go back to this cowl, because it's really simple. These are double crochet stitches with loops. Then we looped them all together, added a button and a loop. Super easy. And I'm going to talk about this more in just a little bit when we go to how I can find the patterns on YouTube, okay? But anyway, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about it. Another thing to remember, that I noticed on these velvet yarns, I was going to click back over there, I couldn't find a die lot number, okay, or a die lot on any of them, of the three. So a lot of acrylic yarns, when they dye them in the process after, how do they do that? In the process of making the acrylic yarn is when they're dyed. It's not like a lot of cotton yarns are all spun out and then they're dyed. And so that's when you won't have a dye lot number. And so I didn't find them on these unless I just didn't look real good. And so that's nothing to keep in mind. But I always try, even if I'm not sure what I'm going to make, to get 2 or 3, especially if they're on sale. And the burnout ones right here, the crushed velvet, Walmart has them also, and then I purchased these at Michael's, because Michael's right now is having a buy one get one half price. or buy one, get one 50% off, I think it depends on the yarn. But I specifically went in there to get the velvet yarn so we could talk about this today and so I could play with it because I love these yarns. They're super fun, and like this bunny, it's super squishy and it's beautiful to work with. So so don't let the velvet yarns frustrate you. Practice a little bit. Find a pattern that's not hard, that's super simple, you know. And the thing, I also think they make great blankets. And I was looking at, it might have been the Burnout one, when I was talking about the wash of it, how to wash it. And they're all different. And I think this one might even have said you can throw it in the wash. I'm not sure. I can't find it now, but this is what I recommend. Any of the velvet yarns, never ever put them in the dryer, because what happens is all that bouncing around knocks those flecks off, those pieces of hairs that make up the velvet. And so what I suggest, because you can make these for a baby, this is for a baby. And so what I suggest when you make your project and it needs to be washed, hand wash it with just your regular, not dish soap, laundry soap, just a tiny bit, and just hand wash it, rinse it well, and lay it out to dry. And the best place, if you have a front loader dryer, I think all dryers are front loaders. So I haven't ever seen one that wasn't, I don't think. But lay it on top of your dryer and let it dry. If you don't have your own washer and dryer, just lay it across the top of your table on towels and let it dry. I really, really recommend you don't put anything velvet or velour in the dryer. Again, just my opinion. So anyway, that is what I want to talk to you about, those velvet yarns. Love them, use them, and have fun, but practice and don't get frustrated. All right, let's talk about brand new patterns and crochet videos for this week. The first thing I want to show you are our granny bags, and I love these. They're super cool, super big. This one is made with Caron Chunky Bulky. And isn't it pretty the way the colors just turned out on that? I love, love, love this bag. And then we did the demonstration with the Cotton XL. Now, if you want to make it out of cotton, and the only place I found the chunky cotton is Hobby Lobby has a brand and Joann's has a brand. I haven't seen it anywhere else. I don't remember what Joann's is called. Hobby Lobby's is the Hobby Lobby brand. I believe it might be Yarn Bee even. I can't remember now. Oh, well. But anyway, it's a good thick yarn. It's 100% cotton. But if you can't find it, I'm going to tell you, just use your basic peaches and cream or whatever cotton you've got and use 2 strands held together, and you can still get a big chunky yarn. I mean a big chunky bag, okay? Now, I had some questions about, I want to make the big bag, but it has holes in it. What do I do? Okay, so I have a video I did a couple years ago, and it shows you how to make a super easy liner for your bag. And this video, this is from a couple years ago. Isn't that cute? That's one of our first year-long crochet alongs that we did, and we made it into a bag. But it shows you super easy how to make a liner for any kind of crochet bag. And if you follow on the blog, I added that video link there. And then also on YouTube, underneath this video, and I'll show you that in just a second because we're going to talk a little bit about how to find things on YouTube. I also added that link to the bottom of the video, all right? And so that's one thing we did this week. And the only other video we did was this one. And I was going to wear one of these today, but my hair wasn't cooperating. So anywho, all right, so we did the chunky messy bun hat. And then I also showed you how you can take that same pattern and make it into a ponytail hat with the band. Some people prefer the ponytail and some people prefer the messy bun. I prefer the messy bun because the back of my hair is really thick and I like to put it up and then use a clip. And so that gives you 2 options of how you can make a really simple messy bun or ponytail hat. And the pattern is a super duper easy pattern. On the pattern, there's 2 sizes listed, but it's all double crochet, and this part is single crochet in the back loop. And all you have to do is measure anybody's head, and you can make them one of these. Super easy. And if you want to go by just there is a graph. I should have got that graph out. There is a graph that shows you sizes for inches for everybody's heads, like newborn all the way up through adult. And you can use that graph just by measuring the hat band, because we make the band first, and then we add the double crochet rows up and then the decrease rows. And it's super duper easy to make, super duper easy to stitch up, and quick because they're made out of chunky yarns. All right, and so that's out there also, and that's what we did this week. Now I'm going to try something, and I'm going to hope this is going to work. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over to this. I'm going to try it. Let's see if it works. There we go. This is my YouTube channel, okay? And I get a lot of questions on how to find things. The first thing I want to show you is how to find those notes. So I'm going to bring this up a little so you can see the videos down here. Here's some of my latest videos. Let's go ahead and click this one. All right, this is the granny bag. And I'll go ahead and hit that pause. There we go, because I don't want you to worry about that. Now, when you are watching the video and it says the crochet pattern is in the notes under the video, what that means is right down here, see if I can pull this up. There we go. Right in this area where it says learn to make this thick, chunky granny bag, it works up quick, all this, then it says right here show more. All right, so click the show more, and here is the link for the blog. Okay, and then it says find me, da 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 da, and then it says show less, and it goes away. That's how you find the link for the notes. All right, now let's go back, and I'm going to pause that because you guys don't want to see that. All right, so then you're looking for, say, a cowl or something. Up here at the top it says home, videos, and then it says playlist. All right, I'm going to click playlist, and then you'll see these are some of my playlists. Spring crochet along, Grandtastic, winter, and then there's arrows. Back to crochet basic, crafts, and you can go through scarves and cowls. Okay, so let's see. Full playlist. Okay, so here is all of the scarves and cowls that I've done. All right, so you look through until you find the one you're looking for. Oh, there's the velvet cowl.
If people see how to...
And then I'll pause it. All right. All right, now tell me, were you able to see that? I want to make sure you were able to see it because I practiced until I got it right. And let me look down here in the comments. Okay, were you able to see how to maneuver around on YouTube? Every pattern has a written pattern. And as we update more and more patterns, we're also adding photo tutorials. A lot of people prefer to see the pictures, and I'm okay with that because it's a great help. And then, so when I do the video on YouTube, I'll add that link at the bottom. All right. Oh, I forgot to show you where I had the how to add the liner for the bag. I should have showed you that, but when you click the underneath the video, it says show more. And also, when you're looking at a video on the phone, instead of seeing where it says show more, usually on the, I think it's the right side of the screen, there's a little black arrow and it's pointing down, and you just click that arrow. And it's different on different devices, whether you have an iPhone or a Samsung or something like that. It'll look a little bit different. But look for an arrow or the words see more, and then you click that, and down comes all the links that go with that pattern. The first one is almost always the link that goes to the written pattern. I know a lot of people tell me, I love the video, but I like to have that written pattern as well. And so I want to make sure you have what you need to make the pattern, because I want you to love my patterns. All right, I'm going to look through here to see, did that work? Okay, good. Okay, I got a new thing on here. My husband's added it. I also have a thing where I can do a picture in a picture in a picture, where when I go over to the other, it'll show a little picture of me. And I didn't do that today. I thought I would just learn one thing at a time. But I think that would be a whole lot better to be able to click over and show you that stuff. You know, so lots to learn. I love learning new things and new things that will help you. Okay, so we discussed velvet yarns, we discussed new patterns, and we discussed a little bit about YouTube. And so that's all I've got for you today. Those of you who came in late, don't forget you can always rewatch it on Facebook, or you can always rewatch it on YouTube. That's why I put them on YouTube, because, you know, not everybody can tune in at the same time. All right. And I always say this. I love my Facebook fans. I love my YouTube. It's actually friends. I love my Facebook friends. I love my YouTube friends. And again, I'm going to let you go. I want you to have a great Tuesday and a great week. And always remember, I can't do this without you. Bye-bye, everybody.